everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Anna, and as you can tell by the title of today's video, it's going to be a sort of a daily vlog, but I am just going to be manga. And what manga am I going to be reading, you ask? I am going to continue with my journey through the Promised Neverland manga. This is one of my favorite mangas out there. I just absolutely loved season 1. I think I watched the anime back in 2021. It was either 2021 or 2020, I don't remember, but all I remember was being completely addicted. I loved season 1. I was addicted to it, you know. I'm not the type of person to stay up late to watch things or to even read things. I just love my sleep way too much. But with this anime, I just could not help it. I always had to watch one episode because I needed to know what the heck was going to happen. And then I did unfortunately watch season 2, which if you know, you know. Okay, season 2 is horrendous. It is really, really bad. I don't know what went through their minds because, and in case you didn't know, up to volume 6, it's exactly the same as the first season. So obviously the anime did adapt everything from the manga. Everything was the same. But for some reason, they decided to do their own story and deviate completely from the manga. So after volume 7, everything is different. And lo and behold, they just did shit, okay? It was absolutely horrific. Literally nobody enjoyed season 2. Everyone just badmouthed it so much that we're probably never going to get a season 3 because nobody liked it. Nobody liked it, including me. I just wasn't understanding what was happening. And I was like, who did this? Like, who wrote this? And I actually thought, you know, it was adapted from the manga. So I was like, what happened to the author? Like, why did the author just write something so horrible? But no, because then I learned that the manga was different, and it actually is. And of course it's better, of course, because it only makes sense, because how would the author just derail so much? You know, it wouldn't be possible. So I have read only volume 7 and 8, and I have here 9, 10, and 11, and I just want to binge them. You know, I've had these for probably a month, and I've just never really had a chance to binge all 3 of them because I've been very busy. You know, I've been studying. I've been just really focused on my studies because I have very important exams. And honestly, the reason why I'm doing this today, it's for one reason and one reason alone. It's because the results of my exams might come out today or tomorrow. So I don't know when they're going to come out. All I know is I am quite anxious, of course, to know the results. And I know that if it's not what I am expecting, because I do need to pass at every single exam, which are 3, for me to enter, you know, the place that I want to. I'm not going to disclose it here because, I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable talking about, you know, my professional life or my career because it's non-existent. But anyways, so I am quite nervous because if I fail one of these exams, everything is over and I have to wait for next year. So it really does suck. And that's why I'm reading these today, because I know that if the results come out today, I'm not going to be able to enjoy these for quite some time because I'm just going to be sad and depressed. So might as well read them right now. And also, you know, I have been studying because if I do pass all 3 of these exams, I go to the next phase, which are more exams. So I, of course, have been studying because I don't really know if I passed, if I didn't pass. But today, I think I can go a little bit easy because it's kind of like, well, if I didn't pass, it really doesn't matter how much I study, you know? So I'm just going to read these 3 volumes. I am just really, really excited to read these. I've been waiting so long. And in case you didn't know, The Promised Neverland, it follows an orphanage. And everything just seems normal. Everything is normal. All of the kids, you know, they're happy. They're all getting adopted. You know, they're all waiting for a family. Until one day, you realize that this orphanage, it's not really an orphanage. You know, the kids who are adopted, they are not really adopted. And you find this out because, of course, our main characters, which are Emma, Norman, and Ray. Emma and Norman, they, you know, they sneak out of the orphanage because I think one of the children forgot their teddy bear. You know, one of the children, I think she was 6, I don't remember her name, she was adopted and she forgot her bunny at the orphanage. So Emma and Norman, they're like, oh my god, she loves this bunny, let's take it to her. So they sneak out, they go after her, but when they find her, it is not, you know, it's not really a happy sight. And that's when they realize, oh my god, we are not being adopted at all. We are not being adopted. All of the kids that have been adopted and that actually left the orphanage, they are not okay. You know, they're not happy with their families. They do not exist anymore. So now ensues, you know, an adventure and a quest, if you will, because Emma, Norman, and Ray, of course, they do not want to tell the children what the heck is happening because they don't want to ensue panic, because all of these children, they are never above 12 years old. So when you are 12, you are automatically sent. You know, you're automatically adopted, let's just say it like that. And Emma, Norman, and Ray, they are all 3 of them, they are 12. 12. And all of them, they realize, okay, this is our last year here. You know, this is our last chance. We have to find a way to escape. Not only us escape, but we have to help all of these children escape as well. And it's very, very hard because, of course, the people who run the orphanage, they know that's not to, you know, send kids out to happy families. So they're also trying to prevent these 3 kids to be adopted. And you might think, oh my god, why didn't they just send them away, you know, send them to another orphanage? The reason is because these kids have tests every single day, and the smarter ones actually stay until they're 12 years old. So for example, children who are adopted at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, everything before 12, they are adopted because the orphanage deems, you know, okay, they're not going to get smarter than this, they're not going to get more intelligent than this, you know, they've reached their peak of intelligence, so we can just send them away. But these 3 kids, they are the smartest that this orphanage has ever seen, has ever had, and that's why the woman that runs the orphanage, the mom, that's what they call her, she doesn't want to send them away because the 3 of them are actually important, and the people, you know, outside that also know about this stuff, they are very much expecting these 3 children. And I'm just gonna say this, it is amazing, you know, the thriller, the suspense, the cat and the mouse game, because of course these 3 are going to try to be 2 steps in front of the mom. The mom is always going to be 2 steps ahead. It's just a cat and a mouse chase, and I absolutely loved it. I was glued to the screen. So, and I'm just very excited to read because volume 7 and 8, which are different from, you know, season 2 of the anime, I love them. I love them so much because they added one character that wasn't in the anime that just changed everything. And what is happening there is just amazing. Okay, it's just 10 out of 10. And I remember stopping in volume 8, and it wasn't a cliffhanger, but definitely, you know, the things and the situation was dire. So I am going to read volume 9, and just look at this cover. It's pretty stunning, and it's called The Battle Begins, and it will, because now I do remember everything that happened in volume 8, and I just need to read this. So let's just get to it, I guess. So I've already finished reading volume 9, and let me tell you, I love this. I love this. 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know why it took so long to read these. It's just amazing, okay? And my anxiety, up to here, okay? My anxiety is at the top of my throat because everything that is happening right now, my god, it's so anxious. I'm stressed. I don't know what's going to happen to these characters because they are in a very stressful situation, to put it very, very, very lightly. So, without giving too many spoilers, so these children are being hunted, and they are no longer at the orphanage, so they managed to escape the orphanage at this point. I think volume 6, they do actually manage to escape the orphanage, but they have not escaped danger, and right now they are being hunted. And let me tell you, it is quite stressful because they have a plan to obviously escape this village as well, and escape the fact that they are being hunted, you know, and go to a safer place. And I just really love the beginning because in the beginning we get to know a lot of information about this world, and we get to know how, you know, there was this one character that truly regretted his own actions and regretted the part that he played in order to keep these children just, you know, at the orphanages and being sold. And even though he was doing that and he was a part of it, and he has been a part of it for the past 1,000 years, okay, not him necessarily, but, you know, his entire family, because it is a generational thing, he obviously, you know, it's very hard for him because the reason why they're doing this, it's to keep peace. And they are trying to protect the other humans. So these children are kind of like the sacrifice, you know, the token to keep the peace between the humans and whatever is hunting them. He has always been conflicted, you know, this person has always been conflicted because he is responsible to maintain that peace and to maintain that agreement, but it's also very hard for him because he's human. And it's like you said, you know, I have been agreeing to this and agreeing to sacrificing children, but I am human at the end of the day. This is horrible, this is horrific. So what he did was he created, you know, a false name, William Minerva, and he started leaving clues for the children at the orphanage, you know, in books and in stories and all that kind of stuff. And what he wanted was basically, you know, choose your future. If you want to stay because you think the treaty is important, then stay. But if you want to run away and go to a safe place, then I'm giving you the choice to do so. So now we learned why he did what he did and why he has left all of these clues. And we actually know all of the paths that will lead to a safe place for these children. And now they just have to escape this village and take everyone to one of those paths. They have crafted a plan because in this village, you know, the children are hunted every week. I'm going to say every week. And Of course, many have died, but some have managed to survive, and they have formed a group. And their plan is to always seem weak. They want to show those creatures that they are weak, that the only thing they know how to do is run away, because they have been preparing for years for this sort of like revolution. And today is the day. Today is the day because Emma, our main character, she was the one that got there with this new information of there is a possibility for us escaping. There is a possibility for us to live outside. And all of them were like, okay, it's now or never. So they created a plan. But it has already, I don't want to say it has gone wrong, because they were expecting, the hunt to be like 2 days away. But no, it was literally the next day. They had a hunt and they thought, okay, it's usually like 2-3 days until they come back. But no, these creatures, they just had to come in, the next day. It had to be that. But fortunately, they were ready because they spent the entire day just planning everything. But the thing is, they didn't have time to, they delegated all of the tasks, but they didn't have time to confirm, if everybody knows the tasks, because we have to remember that these are children. And I know it might seem a little bit unrealistic, and it is, of course, for children to be planning and being smart, but you have to remember these are children that are extremely smart, because the orphanages train them to be smart. And like I told you before, the smarter you are, the later you are adopted, so the later you are sold. And because of that, they're all very, very smart. And you do have some children that, of course, have exceeded 12-year-old. Now they're 15, 16, so they also have a lot of experience. You also have I think 2-3 adults here that, of course, have even more experience. So it's not, completely unrealistic. It can be a little bit, but it's going well. So far the plan has been going well. They have killed 2 creatures already, which is insane and amazing, thank God. But I'm telling you, my anxiety was up to my throat, because I was like, what if everything goes wrong? And I am for sure certain that in volume 10, which is the next volume that I'm going to read, something has to go wrong, okay? It always happens that way. I don't know who's going to die, because I really do like all of these children. I just wish they had a wonderful life, but alas, that is not possible. I am very excited because especially there's one creature here. He is a very, let's just say unpredictable hunter, because not only is he very good at hunting, he's one of the best. He is also very dangerous because he's crazy. And people who are crazy are unpredictable. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to be the hardest one to kill. He's going to be the one that is going to be unpredictable. He's going to do things that they have not predicted. And everything is just going down to hell. I just know that it's about to happen. I am really excited to read volume 10. And honestly, I was thinking about studying a little bit. I don't think I am. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to take, this day off and just at least read these volumes. And then if I do have more time, then I will study. But I just need to know, I need to know what's going to happen. I'm not going to read straight away though, because I do need to have lunch, because it is almost 1 p.m. So I'm going to cook my lunch. I'm going to eat it, because I just have to read volume 10 and 11. And I am just so freaking sad because I only have 2 more volumes. And I know once I finish volume 11, I need the rest, I need the rest. And I might actually order the next, because I do have some money, and it is going to be, a World Book Day on the 23rd of April, which I think is Thursday. So there are going to be some discounts for sure. And I do have 17 euros in one of the websites that I use to order books, which is Wook from Portugal. So I think I might order a volume, because I need to. I just absolutely love this series. And if you do love, thriller, suspense, if you do like the supernatural as well, and the cat and mouse chase, you're going to love this series, I promise you, because it's just getting better and better. Oh, and also in volume 9, we did get, a peek of a character that we thought he was dead, but he's not dead. He has come back, which does make sense why he's not killed, because he is extremely smart. He is a special child, and they are using him, the humans are using him to continue with the orphanage experience, which is awful. And he has no way of escaping, but I'm pretty sure he's going to escape. I'm pretty sure he is, because he's smart. He's smart, and he's going to do it. He is going to manage to do it. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just so excited. I don't know what else to say. It's just amazing. I haven't, this reading year has been a little bit weird for me, because I still have not found a 5-star book. This volume, 5 stars. Absolutely 5 stars. But I think it's easier to give 5 stars to a manga, because there's always something happening. New information is always coming up. But it has been quite a disappointing reading year for me, because although I have had some 4 stars, I still haven't found, that 5-star, that amazing, stunning, beautiful read. And it's just kind of sad, it's just a little bit sad, because I'm getting, I'm starting to question my own taste, and I'm starting to question, do I even know myself? Do I even know myself? Do I know my taste? Why can't I find a 5-star book? So reading these volumes and getting back to this series, a series that I just absolutely love, it's so refreshing. I just love being obsessed again. But yeah, that is all for now. Absolutely love volume 9, 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10, perfection. And now I will go and have some lunch. So I did say I was going to study. I did not, okay? I did not study at all, not even 1 minute, because I just had to read volume 10 and 11, and I read them back to back, and oh my god. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, I don't know what to say. So in volume 10, we did have the continuation of the hunt from volume 9, and so many things went wrong, as you can tell by all of my reactions. So much shit. Like, just so many things went wrong, everything. My anxiety was up there. Like, and even now, my anxiety, I had no anxiety today. You know, I woke up, I was calm. Even though my fate, you know, is going to be decided today, I was surprisingly calm. But with this, it's up there. Like, my anxiety, up to here. Here, I'm telling you. Because everything, like I said, it's just, you know, when you plan and you want the plan to just go well, and it never does. That's exactly what happened to these kids. But the way that they adapted and the way that they just turned the situation around, insane, incredible. I am so proud of these children because they were facing monsters, literal monsters, and they managed to win. They managed to use their wits, they managed to stay calm in a horrible situation, and they still managed to turn things around. And even though it was scary, even though you had lots of kids being injured, thankfully nobody died, but they were injured, you know, quite severely. They still managed to win, and they still managed to, you know, shut down this hunting ground and actually flee. And I know this is fiction, people, okay? I know this is fiction, but I do want to take a moment to say that whenever we read stories like this, I just feel so empowered, and I feel hopeful because these children, of course, you know, none of this happened. There are no actual monsters. We're not being hunted. You know, our lives are not at stake. And even though none of that is the case, just the fact that they remained calm, the fact that they never gave up, and the fact that they just want to live, you know, they refuse to die in these conditions. They want a future. They want to live. They grab onto life with every ounce of strength that they own, and they go after it, you know, and they want to live. They desperately want to live. And that is inspiring, you know, because sometimes, you know, especially with me, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. You know, the fate for this year is going to be decided today, like I said, with all of those exams. And, you know, it's not the end of the world because I do have other opportunities. You know, this opportunity arises every single year, so it's not the end of the world. But, you know, it does mean that this year my career doesn't advance once again, you know, and I might have to find another job. And it's just a normal job. And though it does pay, it's kind of like, you know, I do want to put my law degree into use, you know. And even though that is scary, you know, having your fate decided by just 3 exams if you go to the next phase or not, you know, you can never give up. And before, I always had, you know, this response of, oh my god, everything is over, I don't know what to do. I would just really shut down. And seeing these children not having that reaction and just always having this desire to live, because there are endless possibilities in life. So many things can happen, and it really teaches you something, you know. Although I know this is fiction, it's impossible, I know that, it can still teach you something, and it truly has inspired me because independent of what happens today for me, I still have a chance. You know, we still have a chance at life. The important thing is to never give up like these children, because they never gave up. No matter what happened, no matter how many times the plan changed, they just never gave up, and they always kept on fighting because all of them wanted to live. All of them wanted a future. They just wanted to survive. And I'm just really inspired, to be honest. And in volume 11, we have the consequences of everything that happened in volume 10. So, of course, you know, even though I wanted my babies to just relax a little bit, they could not relax because now we have a lot of injured people. They're hiding, you know, underneath the forest in many tunnels and many passages, and they all have to leave because even though they've managed to kill all of the main hunters, there are still hunters inside the village, you know, in the mansion, and if they find out what happened, they are going to hunt the kids down. So they do need to leave, and it's quite hard because a lot of kids were injured. They were gravely injured. They cannot walk. They cannot move. So it would take a very long time, but they still managed, you know, they still managed. And the reason why they managed is because they did escape through safer routes. You know, it took them 3 weeks to get to the shelter where all the other kids were waiting for Emma and Ray as well. But, you know, they managed to get there, and now they are finally going to try and save everyone else because Emma has told every single child, you know, everyone that she came with from the orphanage, everything that she found out, you know, about how to get to a safer place. Let's just say it's really hard to speak without any spoilers because I really don't want to spoil anything, but now she does have information, you know, where should we go, what should we do, and they've actually opted, of course, with the hardest situation. So they actually had a safe passage inside of their orphanage, and I thought, okay, they're just gonna go back, get the kids are still there, because they did leave kids at the orphanage. They couldn't take everybody, and they left everyone, I think, is under 6 years old or until 6 years old, because they do have, you know, still some time until they're 12 if they are truly, truly smart and really work hard. So because of that, they decided to leave them there. So I thought, okay, they're just going to go back and go through that passage. But no, they are actually opting with the hardest way, which is talking to the person that actually, you know, created the pact between the human and these creatures, the pact that was forged 1,000 years ago, that has guaranteed peace ever since, and that has made these children, you know, the sacrifices. So that is literally their plan, is to talk, I don't want to say to God, but it almost seems like God, because even the demons, at least one of the demons that they met, and she was, you know, very nice, she did not eat human, she was vegan, if you want to call it that way, she was vegan, and she actually told them about this person, and it seemed very much in reverence. So it does kind of seem like God, but that's what they're trying to find out, because even the person that left them those informations, they have never met, you know, the person that actually created the pact. So it does seem like quite God. And of course, that's the option that they're going to choose, because what they're aiming for is, okay, we want to save every single child, every single human. And for that, you know, it's quite impossible to try and pick everyone up and try to lead them to a safe place. It's very hard to rescue everybody. So what they're trying to do is, if we find this person, the person that created the pact, this God, then maybe we can change the pact, we can change the promise, and that way save everybody. Because also, something that these children have also considered, which honestly is so sad to hear, is that these children understand that even if they go to a safe place, even if they, you know, go to the other side where the humans are safe because they are not involved, you know, they are involved in pact, but they are not the ones being sacrificed, you know, they live normally as me and you live. If they go back to that safe place, are the humans there going to accept them? Are they going to say, oh my God, let's rescue these children? Or are they going to think, no, these children were the one that were being sacrificed in order to keep peace. If these children stay here, we're going to have war. And that's what they're thinking, you know, are we going to be accepted there? Are we going to start a war with the humans and these creatures once more, just because us are selfish and want to live freely and have a future as well? And the fact that these children think about this, it's insane to me. It's truly insane, because in what world does a child need to think about this? Does a child need to, you know, even put this into equation? It's just, honestly, it's so sad. It leaves me really, really sad. But of course, I do want volume 12. Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want volume 12 right now? Like, I need it. I legitimately need volume 12, and I might consider buying it. I have to, because I need to know where this plane is going to go, what they're going to do, because now Emma and Ray have been reunited once more. I think Norman is making moves as well, especially because there was one kid that was here at this hunting village. He came from the new farm. That's where Norman is. You know, Norman is kind of being experimented on there. So the kid came from there, and the kid knows Norman. He keeps repeating his, you know, serial number, because every single child has a serial number. So I'm like, Norman is making moves, and I do want to see more of that. So I do need volume 12 for that. Well, in this final studying, I had a blast reading these 3 volumes and just continuing with Promised Neverland. I gave each single volume 5 stars because it had to. It had to happen. They were just amazing. 10 out of 10. I'm telling you again, if you haven't picked up this manga, just at least watch the anime. You know, watch season 1. You're going to be hooked, and you will want to continue with the manga because it's just simply amazing. I absolutely love this anime, and I'm not even a big fan of, like, thrillers, you know, but I just love this. This is so addicting. I'm just so excited to see where the story is going. I just completely had a blast today. Well, we have finally reached the end of this reading vlog, or mangathon if you will. I had such a fun time filming this for you. I hope you really enjoyed this, and I do hope you pick up the Promised Neverland. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it does help my channel out a lot, and it gives me a lot of motivation and validation to continue filming these videos for you guys. And I will see you on my next video. Bye!